goal is to make it through the cycle in 20 minutes.
You know, working collaboratively is a skill set, and it's something that we have to learn. Because having a meeting is not the same thing as working collaboratively. And once that was said, and those kinds of things happen throughout, and once somebody said that, you went, oh, of course. And that applies everywhere. If you go to the for-profit business world and talk about putting teams together and people working collaboratively, you provide training for that, right? You listen to other ideas, you come in with, you define a mutual goal, you exchange ideas, you understand you have to listen as much as you have to speak, you agree to action items, you come back together the next time or report out on those action items. That's both skill sets as well as just understanding process.
It's very challenging to put teachers in one space and say, okay, you're all here, you're here to collaborate, go forth and collaborate. I think it's a skill, it's a practice that all of us need to work on.
Which religion is that? Seek pleasure if you want it, don't suppress it.
And I still think there's that pull of time. You know, I think there's still moments where teachers have so much on their plate and they understand that coming together is useful and beneficial and really crucial if we want to do this kind of work. But they also are pulled in the other direction of having so much to do for their classroom and their students that are going to be sitting in front of them. And I think it took sticking with it for 3 years to find the right balance of those two things.
Really, it was the gift of time where teachers could just do what they do best, which is create. They know their discipline. They know what's challenging for students to learn, what's maybe a little dry for students to learn, what's exciting for students to learn. So the act of collaborating really allowed teachers to sort of just take a moment, reflect, and be planful, and have a sounding board and a peer.
Yeah, at Portland High, there's 2 different teams, and I've watched it sprout and grow in different ways, and it doesn't have to be the same thing to be effective and to be working. It kind of takes the shape of who are those personalities that are working together and what did they need to be able to collaborate. So it is one of those words that gets thrown out there, but it can look different and still be very effective.
There were a lot of sort of light bulb moments where I recall one time there were maybe a couple of social studies and English teachers working together, and we called it the collaborative treehouse. So teachers would just come in and just say, I'm having trouble with my history unit and looking for some help. And then a math or a science teacher would come in, and all of a sudden they'd realize that there's a way to incorporate some history into the science and some science into the history. So it's those kind of moments that I think create innovation, engagement for teachers, and ultimately lesson plans that lead to greater student engagement and achievement.
The Nellie Mae Grant being a system-wide or a district change kind of initiative brought those 3 schools to the table in a way that we weren't working together in the past. And I learned so much about what was going on at the different high schools, and it felt a little bit like we were uniting and really trying to head towards this idea and this concept of student-centered. I think it also brought us together in knowing that we all had work to do.
There is a definite change among the collaboration within the schools. I see Casco Bay High School becoming a model that we look toward to gain information from, to learn from their experience and to tap into their expertise. And that's a whole new relationship for us, teacher to teacher. Portland High School, through our proficiency-based work, and Casco Bay also, but the teachers meet together in their content teams, and that's one of the tenets of student-centered learning, the proficiency-based, also state law. So I've seen that relationship form, which hasn't been before, but even administratively, principal to principal, there's been much more collaboration and honest conversations, and it feels like the amount of competition is decreased. It's still there because there are a finite number of 8th graders and all 8th graders get to choose. So that's one of the wonderful effects of this grant, the student-centered learning, is that we now all have a unique personality.
It's definitely a lot more collaborative and less competitive. And I think there's a sense that we have some key shared beliefs about kids and about learning and about how that best happens, and that there's some value in us sharing our ideas across the buildings about what's working, what's not, in honest ways. I mean, I think there's still plenty of work still to go there, but and I think about what we did with the senior capstone project this past year. That couldn't have happened 4 or 5 years ago. One, having an agreement that that's an important thing, and two, having a genuine sharing of ideas and a recognition of here are some things that we want to do across all schools so that there's some common sense of what this means and common expectations, while still allowing each school to figure out how it would best work structurally within their system. This doesn't feel something done to them. It's something we all want to do, and we're figuring out how to do it best. So I think that's been a pretty significant shift.